Okay, so while we're waiting for parts, we can go ahead and do this valve cover gasket. It just has oil everywhere, so I'm assuming that's the problem. It can't hurt. The throttle cable clips to it, which just pulls out. And let's see, that mess has to come off there. Looks like a 6 mil. Alright, the rest of this stuff's 10 millimeter. Go ahead and pull this off. I'm pretty sure, no, it's not going to come off with that bracket on there. And I think I can fish it out underneath all this stuff. I don't quite remember. The fact that there are like non-factory clamps on there make me think maybe I can't. So there are 10 millimeter nuts all the way around. These front ones hold the back to the timing belt cover. I think in the older cars these were metal. But yeah, they like to get stuck in there. And that'll come off. They have these little metal rails that go around the outside, I guess, so you don't squish the gasket down too much. It's a quart gasket. Helps distribute the force. That thing was not very tight. You don't want them super tight, but that was like almost finger tight there. The little rail comes off. Has matching stuff behind it. These are always the ones you drop. Over on this corner, this one has ground. I can actually use a straight socket there. Let's go ahead and get that one while we're here. This one back here has, get you in there. This one has ground wires attached to it, and the bolt itself is there, and that thing is loose as a goose. Gotta be careful too, because sometimes on these cars, one little missing brown wire, which is the ground, will make it not run. And we will shove that out of the way. And if they're corroded, they will do some crazy stuff. Hopefully, this breather will pop out of here. Without tearing something. That's one way to do it. Alright, the whole thing must comes fine with me. Alright. So there's your valve cover. Yeah, somebody's been in there before. There's a baffle. There's the back rail. So we will go and get all that cleaned up. And I may do a little research because I can't remember if these cars had solid lifters or if they had hydraulic. Thinking they were solid. And they're bucket and shims. So if you had to adjust them, you had to take the cam out and put shims underneath this bucket that is actually the lifter. I'll find my book and see what I can find out. Got everything cleaned up. One thing I thought was kind of odd. You can see that. It's like they just left out a cam bearing. But must have been some change along the way. Looks like there's kind of an oil squirter deal going on there. So anyway, I'm sure to forget that, so we're going to get that deflector put on first. It even has the machine spot for that non-existent cam bearing. I did check the last year in these cars for mechanical lifters was 87. So these are hydraulics, and no sense messing with that. All right. This is the gasket kit. It's cork gasket. There's this little plug goes in the end of the head down here. Make sure you can see that. And that is, I guess, where they machine the cam bores. No, I don't typically put anything on there. Actually, since there's a little bit of casting junk on there, I'll pull that off. So I lied. Put a little dab of silicone just right there in that corner. And the gasket goes on. There's this little raised section for the front. And then this goes around down here by the cam. We'll put a little goo on that. Has a little slot drops in. I'm gonna work on getting a little more silicone out of there. I'm gonna have a clog. I do want to dab that up a little more. Got a little more silicone there. You don't want to go crazy. Of course, I went crazy and got all over my thumb. It should just drop on there. And that rail goes on the back. See if I can get a nut on here without dropping it. Nope, dropped it. And don't forget our little ground deal. Let's try. Sometimes a little bit of greasy filth helps. And keep that nut stuck in there. I think the other rail is in the parts washer. And that rail goes on. These ought to be easy. And the back cover for the timing belt. The older cars, that piece was all, I remember now, it was all metal. It was an absolute pain in the butt to get off there. These, a lot better. Now, let me figure out what I did with all those parts. Oh, I'm gonna go clean this nasty thing up. I'll be right back. Okay, there, at least this car has a temperature sensor under here that attaches on one of these bolts back here. And more than likely what this is an under hood temp sensor that if you park and it's like too hot, it'll run the fans under the hood for a while. It'll run the fans a little bit. Don't forget to put that back on. Ask me how I know, because I just forgot. So anyway, let me see if I can get that started. The book says to torque this to 87 inch-pounds. So we're gonna try that, see how that works out. Happen to have an inch-pound torque wrench. .87 inch-pounds or 10 Newton meters. Let me go back out. There we go. It's actually tighter than I thought it'd be for a cork gasket. Set your torque wrench back to 0. And then this bracket goes in here. That bolt. Go. We'll do yeah, I can get that. breather deal goes on. No clamps on this. And then throttle cable. There we go. And once we make sure our cam plug didn't blow out the end here, it looks good. All right. When we get this all back together, I'm going to make sure we get a kid in the car and make sure we have full throttle, because these things can kind of get a little flaky. All right, we're back together for now. We're going to wait for some parts. But until then, thanks for watching, subscribing. I'll see you on the next one.